Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack on Productions. Today I'm back up being joined once again by Jake, and Jimmy.
Oh, what's going on, y'all?
Yeah, what's up, man?
That's just crazy, dude.
We got the Jake boys.
It's a very common name.
Apparently. Actually, I think Jake won. You were the first Jake I think I've ever met, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
hard
pretty
to
cool.
believe. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's very strange.
I've met more though than anything else. I will say that. So
You met yourself.
I don't know who is actually. Let's arrive at that. Today's matchup is Jake versus Jimmy. Jake is playing set 1 Frieza, while Jimmy is taking on Soul Striker. And as you can see, it is the Bojack version, but maybe it's not. Let's find out.
It's the Bojack version. There's Bojack in the energy.
It's more than just Bojack.
Shut up.
I got yellow stuff finally. Yay!
Yellow's a good color. I enjoy some yellow.
I'm talking about Jake's deck here.
Who plays yellow?
Me.
No one that matters. Sorry.
So that right there is the best play Jake made this entire game.
Oh, critting the Zamasu the Eliminator out of your life.
He went X-ray vision, peeked at my life, went, I'm gonna hit him with that crit because he's gonna take that first crit. Because I was telling myself this entire time. So me and Jake had played this matchup a couple times earlier in the week, and one of the strongest plays Jake has is his unison. It's really eats up my my Zeno super combos that I use for cantrips. You know, eats up stuff like my other 2-drops. Like I run this 2-drop Goku Black, and then I run the old Goku Black. I don't remember what it was from, but I knew I had to be able to counter the unison and keep him off of the unison at least until turn 5. So I was really trying to dig for that Zamasu, and it just happened to be the first card of my life, which really sucked, and I was on the back foot the rest of the game because of it.
What's interesting is that's really incidental for me, because the main reason I play the Krillins is so I can awaken on 3, which I've found that in this matchup previously, you've done a really good job of starving me of life and keeping me from awakening on 3, which is really one of the strengths of this deck, because most decks in the format currently awaken on 3 or later, and if they can starve you out until like turn 4 or 5 while they awaken on 3 by casting like a 3-drop unison, for example, you're in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So I added these Krillins because they were just a more efficient way of taking my own life, and the crit pressure is nice, especially against Soul Striker, where they'd have to combo like 2 apes or something out of their hand early to keep from taking that crit damage.
Exactly. But just crit is such a good skill, dude. Like, I come back to it every single time. I'm like, crit is probably the best keyword skill in the game, in my opinion.
It's really well designed.
Like it does such a good job at starving your opponent of resources, both if they want to combo out of it or if they want to get rid of the card in their life. It's great late game pushes because you hit them with a bunch of crits. You know, they don't have more cards to combo out or negate with later on. Like it's just such a fantastic skill. You actually surprised me here with the Mechagabora unison, because you had been playing the Trunks on me before, and the Trunks was what was like eating me alive. So when you tap 4, I was expecting you just to put the Trunks out with 4 markers, which was confused the hell out of me. But talk about the Mechagabora unison. How's it worked out for you in this list?
So mainly it's a way to deal with like big battle card decks. You just play it for 4, -4, take their guy, and then pop one of your guys and restand 2, and then you're in good shape. But in the Soul Striker matchup specifically, being able to keep some of your battle cards in rest mode and just draw cards off of the +1 skill is really good just for keeping pace with you because your hand is so giant.
Yeah.
Golden Frieza draws a lot of cards too, but I might have a 13 card hand while you're at 16. So it's very difficult to keep pace without like recurrent sources of card draw. And this Meki Kabura is defensive. It fills that role, and it also, when it loses a marker from an attack and it has blocker, I can choose one of your cards and rest it. It doesn't matter what kind. So here I go for just the classic Bergamo tap out and just move to end your turn.
Which that was actually huge because I had the Zamasu the Plot Thickens in hand. And I was going to drop that to be able to pick up my my tapped Goku Black Negate to reuse later in the game, which basically creates, once that card's on field, he's indestructible. So against everything that's not red or yellow being able to negate its skills, it basically makes infinite uses out of my Goku Black and Zamasu's.
Yeah, really solid.
Which is huge, but you did a good job of just dropping Naomi and just said, get rid of him. Don't even think about it.
Don't even think about it, sir.
Which in our matchups, going into your turn 5, I was expecting to see the Frieza because the Frieza just had ate me alive in our earlier matchups. That being the Divine Transformation Frieza.
Yeah. Honestly, I was just too scared to cast it at this stage. I felt like you would have, like, if I tapped all the way out, you would have enough cards in your hand just to basically beat me to death with like an Obuni and some tokens. So I was worried that if I committed 100% to offense, I would just die on the crackback.
And this is another pivotal point in the game because I said I'm going to attempt to cast Dimension Magic. And you stopped, looked at your hand, like slightly nudged towards your energy, and then went, no, he's fine. And from that point onward, I was like, he has a cooler in hand. I cannot afford to activate a negate because he's going to cooler. I'm going to either lose my energy or, I was going to lose the life to pay for a sparking, which I'm down to 1 right now because I utilized Frieza Army reinforcements or Child's Arm reinforcements to put a token on field.
Yeah.
But from that point onward, I was like, I cannot activate a counter. Unless it was something like Baby Hatch and it just had to be like a Hail Mary play to be able to survive a turn.
Yeah, which would have been really solid for you here. Mm-hmm. Use it on that first Dragon Fist swing and just come back heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That was some good foresight there, though. To rest, I know that's a pretty basic play, but as a newer player, I'm just watching things like that. And Jake, when you did the power of a Super Saiyan, rest the Zeno super combo, and then, not enable him to use it on your swings. That was at least some good solid yellow stuff there, right? Rest everything that's valuable and try to stop it.
Yeah, like Jimmy said, I have a lot of experience with this matchup. And I try my best to punish him every time he boards these Zeno super combos, and he still boards them. So I know that they're just that powerful that I'm willing to spend a potential negate to put it in rest mode, and then use the Meki Kabura to keep it there, so he can't combo with it on his turn either. Not that he could switch energy on his turn, but it's still 10k combo power.
Which I'm willing to expend a Zeno Super Combo. I'll run 3 in the list, but I'm usually willing to expend a Zeno Super Combo just to dig for my more crucial pieces, such as like Galactic Busters or my Zamasu the Eliminators. I do only run 2 Eliminators in the deck just because I don't own more of them. I would run a playset if I had them. But I really need to get those cards in my hand early to be able to get the best use out of them, because past turn 5, Eliminator becomes less and less valuable.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I usually just slam them to try to dig, and if I do get to combo with them later, that's fantastic. If not, it doesn't really hurt me. But in a situation like that, where you had the Bergamo power play, as well as the auto on Mechagabora, which I completely forgot that it could do any card.
Any battle card is the... you mean when a marker is removed. Yeah.
So being able to tap me completely out, was huge, especially when Zeno was not available.
Yeah.
So Majin Buu Unison, just doing Majin Buu Unison shit, just putting shit at the bottom of the deck. Unison needs to get banned.
I think it's pretty good.
It's real good. It's real good.
It's one of my favorite Unisons, honestly.
This is my first time really playing the Unison. I have played against it a lot, and it's been a while since I've played Blue. So it felt so good to be behind that Unison.
Oh, yeah. And from here on out, we're playing quite possibly one of the grindiest series of turns I have experienced in Dragon Ball history.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you were at turn 5 at the 6-minute mark. Keep in mind, the video was increased in speed by 180%. I want to comment that Unison thing. The idea of you actually feeling good about playing a Unison is also very interesting, because you're one of the few players that will open and go, if I don't need to put one in, I won't put it in the deck.
No, I actively try to build away from Unisons. But I do think Blue is one of the colors where the Unisons are most powerful, because you get access to stuff like God Sealing Technique. And also, almost all of the Blue Unisons are just fantastic.
Yeah, just text on card, Blue Unison. Blue has the best Unisons, I think, just objectively.
Yeah, so I do actively try to build away from Unisons and use them as fleetingly as possible. But another thing to comment on here, I have my entire Bojack package in my energy at this point. And
I was
no
just
Galactic
that.
Busters. No Galactic Busters at all.
Which is just a huge mind screw for me personally, because he hasn't used a Galactic Buster all game, and he has his entire engine in his energy. So it's very difficult for me to go in heavy on a battle card and try and take his last life, because he can combo heavy with his large hand and with his energy. So it's very difficult for me to want to commit to one specific move.
At one point in this game, you asked me, you asked to, I think it's you read the 8-drop, and you're like, okay, that costs 4 energy to play. And I wanted to do my classic bitching where I'm just like, oh, I wish I could play it. But I held my tongue the entire time after you said that, because I was like, oh, he thinks I have a Galactic Buster in hand. And then, after the match, we're talking, and we're both you're like, oh, did you have this in hand? I'm like, oh, no, I didn't have that. And I'm like, did you have this in hand? In your hand? And you're like, no, I didn't have that at all. And we're both sitting there God damn, we could have done this so much differently.
Yeah. The cooler you mentioned earlier, I think I was like, no, I didn't have that all game.
I would say that I was like, if you did have that in hand after saying that, I probably would have come across the table at you. I was so scared of that card the entire rest of the game after that one dimension magic.
This was a really good secret ID, in my opinion. Clean up the token, and it's very tempting to pick up 2 of these 3-drop Friezas, but you just went ahead and started attacking them, and spent secret ID to kill the 5-drop.
Yeah, I'd rather get rid of the 20k than the 15ks, because I do have a Sensu Bean in hand, which would make it so each one of those 15k swings is at least a card out of your hand.
Yeah.
So I was okay with using the secret ID just to clean up the 1/5-drop.
I thought it was a good play. I think at this point we're just trying to grind as many cards out of each other's hand as we can.
Yeah. One thought that popped in my head was like, okay, stall and deck him out because every card he plays in this deck draws him a card. So
yeah,
after a certain point in the game, if you just keep playing your 1-drops just to use your leader card's ability, it basically just kills you.
Yeah.
I remember at one point I walked over and I was like, wait, that's your deck? I think that might have been the moment right there, actually.
Yeah, I think it's about 8 or 9 cards at this point. Not very many at all.
Mm-hmm. And I do decide to bottom deck my own Abuni just due to it being a 20k. Which, with the amount of energy you have, being worried about a 20k should be the least of my worries, but it made sense to me at the time. And then you're just like, oh, well, wow, just put a 20k dual attacker on field.
That's in turn probably, or possibly at least, going to wipe out those tokens, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And again, Zamasu the Eliminator would have been fantastic there.
Oh, yeah.
But the only one I knew where it was at was, in the bottom of my warp right now.
And here I try to Final Flash a Unison, and remember, I can't do that, so we take it back.
The turn before this, when I was defending, I burned 3 beans on my leader because I was just hoping you would stop turning cards sideways at my leader once I had, put a bean on it. And you kept doing it, and it forced out the second bean. I was like, okay, I'm at 25k right now. He'll stop turning cards sideways, and you continued to turn cards sideways at me, so I ended up having to burn the 3rd bean. Because bean is the best defensive option in this deck, in my opinion. Because you slam one of those, and it's like now your opponent is playing a back foot. But it was really smart to keep pressuring there because you got so many of my good resources out of my hand that on this turn where things really matter, I did not have the multiple beans to slam.
Yeah, I figured my individual card quality in my deck is much lower than yours. Granted, I can cycle through them much more quickly, but just like text on card, I think your deck has like better cards in it. So if I can spend, in some cases, 2 cards to get rid of one of yours, it might be worth it. Because the hand sizes are so large in this matchup, it almost becomes like a math problem, and less like a game of Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which a lot of the cards you run in your list are like the Ginyus and stuff made for Life Flip Frieza, where half of the text is irrelevant.
Yeah, just does nothing.
Yeah, which, I mean, you have to run them they're the best cards to run for your leader effect, which is a very powerful effect. And in some ways is kind of similar to, Soul Striker's effect on swing. And in some ways it's better because you don't have to turn your leader card sideways for some of those effects. And you turn the token sideways, and I was like, if he kills me with a token, I'm fucking quitting this game.
I was just gonna say, is that a 10k token that you just swung?
It is. Like I said, at this point of the game, it's a math problem.
Yeah. And that's where you're reading the Bojack, and I was like, oh, he thinks I have a Galactic Buster. Okay, good. I guess if you kill me with a token, that would have been revenge because I swung Azumatsu the Eliminator at you and comboed up.
You did. You did kill me that way the night before, or 2 nights before.
So that it would have been fair to lose to a token, but I really didn't want to let that happen.
I've been killed with a 4k unison, so it happens.
Hey, combo power is combo power, man.
It is what it is, yeah.
Attack is an attack. Also, every time I played against Jake, I've gotten basically the holy trinity of cards in my hand of Fu Shrouded in Mystery, Golden Avenger, and Turning the Tide. And I just never get to play them because he either taps me out or kills me before the turn I could actually play it. So I did have that Dimension Magic in hand, and I should have utilized it because he did not have the Cooler in hand. But I was scared that I knew that if I tried to activate it and you put Cooler on the field, it was just game. Like, I could have comboed out, but you would have comboed so hard on one of those attacks that it would have been, irrelevant because the next attack would kill me.
Yeah. Just a really, really intense game where we were kind of psyching each other out of playing our best cards.
For sure. Exactly.
And with that being said, hope you all enjoyed today's video. Keep in mind there's buttons down below and on the screen while maybe someone does the outro.
Yeah, so there's videos on the screen right now. They have things to do with us and Dragon Ball. You can click them. Like and subscribe if you liked or would like a subscription. And, fluff out.